Now we
back at 0.
Okay,
and
everyone, this is Chris. He's going to talk to us this evening about the chakras and healing. So it's all yours.
All right, well, hi, as she says, my name is Chris. For those of you that don't know, I am one of the co-owners of Love and Light Spiritual Emporium. I've known to call myself a witch since I was 14. I kind of had an idea earlier than that. And I'm also a Reiki master teacher, and I also practice other various forms of healing modalities. So today we're actually going to be focusing on the chakras, the energy centers of the body. We're going to be talking about the 7 main. We'll touch up a little on the ones in the hands and the feet that are minor ones. I'll even helping you visualize when you're trying to work with chakras 9 through 22, going up above the 8th. And we'll also talk about chakra 0, for those of you that don't know about chakra 0. So with that, I guess we will go ahead and get started. So with the chakras, like I said, they are the energy centers of your body. They are the energy focal points. They rule all sorts of different parts of the body, and also give you an idea of where some health and imbalances may be. I know some people like to say when they're having like an imbalance that their chakra is closed. I don't like that visualization, because if something's closed, there's no energy moving, and if you have no energy moving, you're dead. So I prefer to say that it has an imbalance, and then you're bringing it in balance, because you can have your energy centers be underactive and overactive, and the idea is to get them back into, that middle ground. Learn from Icarus, don't go too high. So with that being said, there are the 7 main that most people know, and for those that don't, it is starting from the base of the spine, the root chakra, usually visualized as red. Then above the genitalia, you have your sacral chakra, which is orange. Over the abdomen, your solar plexus. Then your heart, throat. Then in the middle of your forehead is your third eye, sometimes also called the brow chakra. And then you have your crown. Now above the crown is the soul star. That is the 8th chakra. Below your feet into the earth, that is your earth star. That is the one that is sometimes referred to as chakra 0. So now you know. So with starting from the soul star and working our way down, for those of you that have the handouts, and for those of you that are watching over the internet, if you would like these handouts, we can get them to you. So the soul star, which is the 8th chakra, its Sanskrit name, and I will probably butcher every single one of these, so please bear with me. Vyapini, I believe, and it means goddess who is everywhere, and its colors are usually white or gold, or a combination of the two swirling. Its drive or main force is ascendance, and its element is the soul. Now, if you would like to have crystals to work with connecting and strengthening this chakra, you can work with clear quartz, Herkimer diamonds, or diamonds. I would even say you could probably use cubic zirconium too, just because they look so much like diamonds. And for oils, you can use things like hyssop, spikenard, sandalwood, or frankincense, things that elevate and raise vibration, bring in higher spiritual energies, things of that nature. Now coming down to the crown, which is where we receive our divine messages, and its color is violet. This is the Sahasrara, I believe, which it's usually depicted as violet, but you can also visualize it as white. Its drive is transcendence, and it deals with time and space. Again, you can use clear quartz for the crown. You can even use amethyst. For oils, you can use frankincense, lavender, or even rose geranium. Now, the third eye chakra, which is where our intuition, our psychic centers are, its name is Anjana, to perceive, to know. Its color is indigo, a bluish purple, and it has its drive of inspiration. Its element is the shadow, and you can use crystals like iolite or amethyst. You can also use something like blue aventurine, something that kind of like something in the blue or purple spectrum that has a little hint of the other. If a stone like that is hard to find, you can actually use amethyst for the third eye and then use a clear quartz for the crown. So they can be interchangeable. Or you can even do something such as maybe use an amethyst for the third eye, and then for the crown, you could use like a chevron amethyst because it actually has the white and the purple on it. So coming down, from the heart, your solar plexus. Now this is like the sun of our own personal solar system. So this is where our will and our drive is. So this is where we find our own will and desire to accomplish things and do things. And it is the Manipura, which is the jewel city. Its color is yellow. I just skipped from the third eye all the way down to the solar plexus. I was like, wow, because I was looking here, I'm like, nope. Well, okay, we'll go over the solar plexus. We'll go back up to the throat. So its drive is willpower, and its element is fire. You can use citrine, pyrite, also known as fool's gold, yellow calcite for the stones. You can also use oils such as bergamot, ylang ylang, and lemon. So let's go back up to the throat. So the throat chakra, which is the Vishuddha in Sanskrit, meaning purification. Its color is blue. It deals with communication. Its element is light. You can use things like sodalite, it's one of my personal favorites because it really helps you with speaking your truth. You can also use aquamarine, which is really good for healing the throat. Fluorite, which eliminates chaos, so your words can be clear. And lapis lazuli as well. You can also use oils such as hyacinth or lavender. You will see that there is some overlap with some of the oils and things that you can use if you wanted to anoint your chakras to empower them. So coming down to the heart chakra, now this is your bridge between the physical and spiritual chakras. It is joining the soul and the emotions all together. So it is the Anahara, which means unstuck sound. Its color is green, and obviously its drive is love. Its element is air, and you can use rose quartz, aventurine, emerald, or jade. And for oils, you can use rose, jasmine, or neroli. We covered the solar plexus, so let's go to the sacral, which again is right above the genitalia. Now this rules like our sexuality, our sensuality, also our creative energies. A lot of artists and creative people tend to have very strong sacral chakras. So this is the Swadhisthana, meaning sweetness. Its color is orange, and its drive is sexuality, element of water. And the crystals are orange calcite, carnelian, fire agate. Oils, you can use musk, Egyptian musk, sandalwood. If you can actually get your hand on actual ambergris, you could use ambergris. And then the root, which is right at the base of the spine, the Muladhara, which is red. Now this deals with our base needs for survival. So our survival instinct is the drive here, and its element is earth. And its crystals are hematite, garnet, and red jasper, and you can use oils such as cedar and myrrh. Now, with the Earth Star chakra, this one is actually below our feet, down into the earth. And it's literally our connection to the earth. It's the Vasundhara, which means daughter of the earth. Now, for colors, it can be either gray or even brown with hints of red in it. And its drive is connection particularly to the earth, and its element is the deep earth. And you can use crystals such as jet, amber, petrified wood, and moss agate, and oils like patchouli, vetiver, and amber. Now, when people want to do sets of chakra stones, you have options. Like, you can either pick stones that are the color of the energy center and use the color correspondence to keep them in balance. You can also go with stones that you know resonate with what it rules, such as for the root chakra, you could go with something that's the color, such as ruby. You can also use garnet. Now, this is obviously a very deep red that almost looks black, but it is a garnet. You could use it for your root chakra. Or you could use something like hematite, which is good for grounding, or even black tourmalines would work as well. And so you have an option. You can go with color, or you can go with energetic correspondence. You can even mix the two. Like, I've seen a lot of people that will do like a set of chakra stones, and they'll do the colors for all of them, but the heart chakra, and they'll use a rose quartz for the heart chakra just because it's such a good, strong heart center crystal because it helps with connecting to your self-love. Yes?
I didn't even know about that. That's actually kind of cool to do that as an option. My other question is, I suppose, is there a way that you can do that and there's just one in particular that would link them all together in a particular sense where they would be like creating a circuit and then you'd like create a link to that?
Actually, yes, you could do something like that. Sometimes you can get, a lot of people now are buying chakra stones that are glued onto like a piece of selenite.
Right.
You can also use kyanite, which is one of my personal favorites. Blue kyanite in particular, I mean, it's attuned particularly to the throat and third eye. and the soul star, but this actually, just by having it on you, you don't have to even focus, program it, anything. Just by having it on you, kyanite aligns and keeps in balance all of your energy centers, just by holding it and having it on you. Now, you could also use black kyanite for the same thing, and black kyanite is really good for people that have issues grounding and staying grounded and centered. So they could actually use black kyanite for the same thing, plus look at the added energies of the grounding factor of the black kyanite. So you have options there, or if you're not really a stone person, you can use oils and anoint, your energy centers and chakras with the oils. Like we have oils here, and these are blends that we made that resonate with the chakra. I came up with these 4 recipes, and this is what we use as our attunement oils when we're attuning people to Reiki when they study Reiki with us. So these are literally for anointing and energizing the chakras, because when you go through an attunement in Reiki, we're using our symbols to open them up wider to channel the energy, so that when you're overflowing with the Reiki energy, it comes out of your energy centers into your hand and into the client to push anything down and out. So, any questions so far? You can also use color therapy, like through the use of candles. You can burn candles to keep your chakras in alignment. You also can see, sometimes we have like the 7 colored candles, and I use those for spiritually balancing, because as it burns down, it will go through all of the chakra colors. But you can set something up like this. And here again, you can also mix them together. You can anoint the candle with oils for the chakra and do it that way. Selenite, very good for clearing any negative energy, negative contracts, or anything along those lines that you may have with one of your energy centers. And we'll go a little bit more in depth with that in a little bit. So on the next page, for those of you that have the handout, when you're looking at working with the chakras, sometimes you want to get an idea of, am I feeling something in a certain area of my body? Is there a certain physical problem that I'm having? Because with our energy field, because just like there are the 7 chakras, we have 7 layers to our aura. And a lot of times when we have things physically happen to us, a lot of times it's because it's something that we had in our outer energy field that we didn't deal with before it came into the physical layer of our aura. And then that disorientation, that imbalance, or that dis-ease manifests as something physical. So how to know which chakra it pertains to? Well, I've given you a cheat sheet. So with the Earth Star, we're going to start from the bottom of the page and work our way up. When you're in balance, you feel very grounded, you feel connected to nature, you can feel connected to the world around you. But if you're not really having a strong connection with your Earth Star, you can usually feel out of touch with yourself and actually with the world. And the part of the body that it really resonates with is your feet, because that's our connection to the mother. So if you really feel like you want to strengthen that connection to your Earth Star chakra, just do some earthing. Go outside and walk barefoot. I like to go to the beach, and I'll actually take my feet and I'll bury them down in the sand, and I'll just sit there with my feet buried in the sand. And I'm talking like up to my ankles. I really just get them in there, because I have no earth in my astrological chart, so grounding is a very big challenge for me. So doing earthing is really good for that, and it will help to strengthen your Earth Star. So coming up to the root, this is when you're feeling secure and like you have vitality and all of your basic needs are fulfilled. You're not really wanting for anything. You're comfortable. All your base needs are met. When you're feeling that way, that's when you know you have a really good balanced root chakra. If it's out of balance, that's when addictions can come into play. People can become obsessed with possessions and, oh, I need this or I need that, or they become very tight-fisted, and it actually can even manifest in headaches as well. So the root chakra actually in the body connects to our spine, our kidneys, our bladder, and our suprarenal glands. So if there's anything going on there, there might be some imbalance in the root chakra. So with the sacral chakra, you have creative energy, you're feeling sexual, you feel desirable, but if there's an imbalance, like if it's overactive, somebody could be very hypersexualized and acting out sexually, they can have dependency, or in the reverse, they can go into isolation and withdrawal. So it actually connects to the reproductive organs, obviously, our glands, and our legs. Now, the solar plexus, when you're feeling balanced with that, you feel empowered, alert, confident, you're energetic. And if you have an imbalance there, that's typically with confusion, you feel overly competitive, you might be a little self-centered. And it is connected with our stomach, gallbladder, liver, our digestion, and our pancreas. So it kind of rules in that area. With the heart chakra, self-love, self-esteem, your body and soul are one, and you're able to feel and give love. So that is when your heart chakra is in balance. But you can't be emotionally closed off or be demonstrating codependency or be very self-conscious if there is an imbalance there. Now, obviously, the heart chakra deals with the heart, but also it is connected to the thymus, your lungs, and the circulatory system because it pumps the blood through all the body. Now, your third chakra, this is when you're able to speak your truth, you communicate clearly when it is in balance. If somebody has an imbalance, you can have aggressive speech, worry, things could be fearful, or they're just unable to express themselves. And it deals with the throat, thyroid, your upper lungs, and your arms. So the third eye, this is your intuition, your imagination, and your view of the world. And if there's an imbalance, there could be a lack of imagination and having impossible dreams. And it is actually connected to a lot of stuff. It's your spine, your lower brain, your left eye, pituitary gland, nose, ears, central nervous system. The crown, connected to the divine, spiritual vision. You feel really connected to your guides and your higher power. And if there's an imbalance, you've got confusion, need to control, uncertainty, disconnection, and it deals with the pineal gland, the upper brain, and right eye. And then for the soul star, you feel the flow of pure energy, you feel very connected to your higher self, and you feel disconnection from the divine. Obviously, there's an imbalance. And for the part of the body, it just kind of deals with the soul because it's your light body. And the thing with the chakras, there are, like I said, we usually focus on the 7 main, and some people focus on the soul star, and now people are starting to pay more attention to the earth star. It's becoming more well-known, and more people are starting to talk about it. But you also have minor chakras in the palms of your hands, your feet, they're all over your body. You have hundreds of them, tons of them. And when I was talking about going higher above the soul star, like with the visualization, what it is, it's almost like your light body or your astral body is contained within your soul star. Now, let's pretend my lovely little puppet made by our fabulous Abelina. It's like she's sponsoring me and I'm plugging product, So, anyway, but let's pretend that this is the light body inside my soul star. Now, all of these, that soul body has its chakras going up to its soul star. Then you go to that light body and you keep going up and up and up. And that's how you're going higher in, is you're going in further deeper into the soul stars of each light body inside the light body or soul star. I had when I was doing some of my classes for the University of Metaphysical Sciences, one of the meditations they had us do was a meditation literally dealing with chakras 8 through 22. And it was an unbelievable experience. I couldn't even remember to tell you what color everything was. I got lost after 10. So, but anyway, so when you want to work with the chakras on yourself or even on other people, keep in mind when you're doing healing work, you never diagnose. Don't diagnose somebody. You can say that you feel maybe an imbalance somewhere, or like the energy kind of felt different here, or it felt warm here. So just remember that, because you don't want any liabilities. I mean, even here at the store for energy healings, we have people sign a release waiver saying that they understand this isn't a substitute for modern medicine. So. Anyhow, so you have to be careful with that. So when you want to sense energy, we'll get back to this later because the last page is going to actually talk about when you're sensing color and doing color therapy. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what I want to do is kind of talk about a couple exercises that you can do to help you with sensing energy and ways that you can sense imbalances on people. One way, and this happened to me when I was in rehab, this is when I knew I really needed to work on my heart chakra. I was going to demonstrate with tingsha bells, but you can also use something like a singing bowl. Now,
Nice one too.
the thing is, this one is blue. It's attuned to the throat chakra to help with communication. But the thing is that if you're working on a client, you can have them laying on a table or have them standing. If you have them standing, the tingsha's are easy because you can just start their crown and ring the tingsha's and have them close their eyes and slowly lower it through their chakras. And if they take a step back or they seem to kind of wince when you get around a certain energy center, then you could be like, okay, we need to do some work on this energy center because they had a reaction. They kind of pulled away from it. And that's what happened to me when I was in rehab, is one of the therapists kind of rang tingsha bells, and when they were coming down, right when it got to my heart, I was like, oh, okay, that was cool. And she's like, oh, we need to do some heart center work. And I was like, nope, we Yeah, we do. It was like, it's kind of how it went down. But you could do the same thing even with a singing bowl. Like if someone's laying on a table, look at them and watch them and pay attention to them, because sometimes they'll tell you something. Because I notice when I work on clients, a lot of them end up like flicking a lot. It's almost like as I'm doing the healing on them, they're flicking everything off of them. But you can use sound and use like the singing bowl and keep passing it over the individual. And if you kind of notice they wince or they might shift or move when you get over a certain area, you can be like, okay, there's something going on here. And then if you remember what the correlation is with the chakra, you can kind of get an idea of it. Yeah.
So if they move back, then you know something work. What if they move forward towards it?
Then maybe they're feeling really good, or it maybe threw them off balance. Watch how they move. Because if it's like, and they're like all blissful, then it could be, okay, it's really resonating with them there, and they're just, it's like you ride that zone, you ride that vibe. But if they're like, oh God, then it's like, okay, we still need to do some work in that area. So that's where watch the body language and gauge it from that. So you can use that. Also, you can work with pendulums. Pendulums are really fun to work with. And is anyone not familiar with a pendulum? Never worked with one before? Okay, anyone? Okay, awesome. So basically with a pendulum, you can hold it over somebody. And what I do is I usually see if the energy is moving. Now for me, I make sure it's going in a circle and it's moving around like it's supposed to. I'm making it spin like this right now just because I want to give you an idea. But if it stops or it's bouncing or it's not really moving, then I might work with them and take them through a visualization. One that I personally like to do is if there's not really a whole lot of action moving with the pendulum, and I'm like, all right, so let's say it's over their throat. They're just not really speaking their truth. They're not saying what they need to say. They're not letting people hear them. I would say, okay, I want you to visualize a flower bud with blue petals right at your throat. And I want you to see it open up and coming into bloom. And then I want you to see it start spinning clockwise around. And then as they do that, I'm walking through the visualization, inevitably the pendulum starts moving. So I'll have them see the flower bud come to open up and start actually moving. And that helps to get the energy flowing through. So, and obviously if you've studied healing modalities, you use any of those as well. I have like a set of chakra wands. These I actually set underneath a table when I'm working on a client to help with a flow of energy going from head to toe and out. But I've also taken it and channeled my energy into the crystal, because these actually have a point, and have the energy come down and out and into that energy center.
Yeah, that one in particular is massive energy. I can feel it from here.
Yeah, garnet. I resonate really strongly with garnet. So you can use these to help you in your healing or working with these to bring them into balance. So if you want to sense energy, one thing you can do is you can form an energy ball, and you can do this by yourself and see how far you can go, how big you can make it, how small you can make it. And another thing you can do is partner up with somebody and then hand it to them and see if they can feel it, and you hand it back and forth. Once you get good doing that, then form your energy ball, but make it a certain color, and then hand it to the person and see if they can perceive what color it was when you handed it to them. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna practice kind of just making some energy balls. So one thing you can do to start the process, put your hands kind of like in a prayer position, and we're going to kind of slap them together, because this is gonna help to stimulate the minor chakras in your palms, okay?
Done this for years.
So we just give it a good smack, and then you rub your hands briskly just to build up some heat. Okay, and then kind of bring your hands out and then just kind of start to form a ball. Now, there's all different ways you can act like you're making like a snowball, or you can move in a round circle, or just kind of bring them together. Now, you may feel it as heat. It may be cool. It may be static. It may feel like electricity to you. It all depends on how you perceive energy. And then you can kind of make it as big as you want. See how big you can make it before you lose the feeling, and then come back in if you lose it, and it's fine, because you can find it again. You can try to shrink it down. How's everybody doing with it?
It takes me back.
Great.
Yeah.
It's fun to have fun without the whole inner child. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can just kind of release it and let it go. And this helps you with kind of also sensing things through your palm chakras, because when someone's laying on the table, I also like to kind of scan. And when I'm scanning somebody, I will raise my hands up and down. This way I'm hitting all the layers of their aura, and I'll start from the head. And as I'm going down all the way to the feet, I'll do the same thing and come all the way back up to the top of the head. And that way I'm hitting all the layers going back and forth. And if I notice something, I'll kind of make a mental note, or I might like kind of move my hand and be like, okay, I'm going to come back and check this area. I'm going to focus more here when I'm working on somebody. Or even myself, like I'll sit there and scan myself. And if I feel my energy kind of peak and flare, I'm like, oh, okay, there's something going on here that I need to address and look at. So another thing that you can do is you can take your dominant hand. For me, this is going to be my left, and take your non-dominant hand, and just, you can actually you just close your eyes and start moving your hand in a slight spiral. And see if you can feel the energy going as a spiral towards your hand. You can pull far out. Come back in. And once you get comfortable doing that, you can start to work up the arm and see if you can do it and see how close you can get to your arm when you're doing it. And this will help you just just strengthen your ability to just kind of sense things, see what is going on with somebody, and then you can start to pick up colors and things of that nature too. So you may start out feeling it as like heat signatures, like hot and cold and things of that nature, or static or electric. There's no wrong way to do it. So if you feel like you want to balance your chakras, you could do something such as taking a lovely poppet like this. And what I love about this one is that it actually has pockets in all of these chakras. So I can actually take stones for each chakra and put it in here and have this represent me to help keep me aligned and balanced. If I didn't have something like this, I could take a picture of myself and place stones on it. Or I could even use, like with the oils, you can also use the herbs, and you can put piles of herbs or some herbs on you going up in the chakras to correlate to keep yourself in balance, and kind of use that as some sympathetic magic in working this in. Another thing that you can do when you partner up with someone is have somebody sit with their back to you and then try drawing a shape at their back and see if they can sense what the shape is, and in practice with each other and see if you can pick up on what shape you're sending, and then switch places. So you can also see how well you can perceive as well as project. Any questions so far? Also, some healers, like I know my business partner Rosa is a certified crystal healer, and she does grids on people. She can actually take a crystal grid and lay it on people, and she can lay the stones for the chakras on the body. If you want, at the base of the feet and at your head, you can use natural quartz points. These are great because they empower and they're good for programmability, and they'll help to create a flow of energy going out in both directions from crown to foot when you lay down and place the stones on yourself to help align and balance yourself. Okay.
You make a tea for each chakra point and do shots.
You literally could.
That's from Alba.
Oh, yeah, you really could. You could. I mean, honestly, working with a color, you're really is limited with your imagination. There's so many different ways that you can do this. And also you can use things like dowsing rods. If you want to see like how big your energy field is, you can simply hold them loose. And as you're backing up from the person, wait until they finally go and cross. And you're like, okay, their energy field goes out to here.
Show us with a volunteer.
Oh, sure. So do you want to? Okay, come on up, hon.
I like them.
All right. So I'm going to have you, let's see, where's a good angle for it because of the camera. So
I can move the camera.
okay,
I'm also
well, groovy.
short, so this.
You're travel size. You are not short.
I am nugget sized. Okay.
So
Origin over.
okay, so I'm gonna have you stand right here, and I'm just gonna stand here with these loosely in my hand, and I'm just going to slowly back away from you, and we're gonna see how long it goes before they cross. There you go.
So what does
Check
that
her
mean?
out. That means that her energy field literally projects this far out to here. That's how wide your aura is around you. Yes.
Can you do that with me?
Sure, absolutely. Come on up.
She's like,
I'm just gonna say, does everybody want to try it?
I'm next.
Yeah.
I'm next.
All right, cool. Let's
We
measure
just,
some
like-
auras.
can we just take a number?
Sit right there, honey, and that way I can have a little bit further room to go. All right, so we kind of. Yep, out to here.
So it goes like this?
Yeah, basically like an egg shape
orb
all around
around
you.
you.
Yeah, so right now it extends out. And a lot of times, also like people like us that are kind of spiritually aware and open, we also tend to sometimes pull our energy in, especially when we go into crowded places. So don't be surprised if like one day you're like measuring your aura and I'm like, wow, it was so much further out. Yeah, well, did you go to a big crowded place? Because sometimes that doesn't work. I'm gonna have you stand right now.
Absolutely. I'll just
There
ask
you
you a
go.
question.
Yes,
how
dear.
do the colors go for the aura layers?
There's no particular color. They change all the time. So especially in your emotional layer, they change rapidly, constantly. So it fluctuates. There's no specific color for any layer of the aura, but each chakra in the body does correlate with a layer of the aura. All right. There you go.
All right.
Cool. That's just with play with the energy bubble. Yeah, come on up, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, you go out first.
No, yeah, this way. That's true.
Bread and butter, bread and butter, bread and butter.
God.
All right. And what's great is we're doing this after you guys were already like making and constructing energy balls too. There you go.
Mhm.
Good job.
So have you seen like not goes that far?
When I was doing Reiki, some of us after we got the attunements, it was like if they were at that wall, we were like coming out to like here after we had gotten an attunement because our vibration had just been elevated so much.
So you have seen it further?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen like no space at all?
Yes, I have been around people where there was like no space, but it was because I knew that they were intuitives and they were empaths and very psychic, and they pulled their energy in because they were like, if I don't, I'm going to be feeling everything from everybody. So they tend to pull their energy in so they don't pick up as much. It's a way of protecting themselves.
Like shielding.
Absolutely. Another way to do that is put an overabundance of energy around yourself. That way it kind of gives you a buffer between everybody. So I'm resting loose on my hands. We have a winner. Wow. Number next.
Okay.
What did you do today?
There you go.
Go ahead, Matt.
Boom. There you go.
Good.
Nice. Yes, get up here, girl.
I think I tied.
Same picture.
Okay.
You need more room.
Mercy, girl. It was like, okay, you can't go any further back. She's back here. I'm like,
Oh, well done.
One parking lot later.
you go, girl.
Parking on
I was like, oh my. There you go. Voila.
Thank you.
That was fun.
So you can do that. Now, if you don't have dowsing rods, you can actually make really simple ones from a hanger. Just cut a wire hanger and make them. You can also buy them if you want, if you prefer. These are good, but you have to keep them loose in your hands. I prefer the ones that actually have like a handle around it, because then it's very loose. You just hold the handle, and then your hands and your grip don't get in the way. You can also use a pendulum doing the same thing, but what I would recommend is once you get used to having it spin in a circle, if you're walking up to the person, you can approach them, and because when you step up, it's probably going to swing back and forth. So keep doing that until it starts moving in a circle, and then that's when you know you're at the edge of that person's energy field. So that's a way that you can use the pendulum in place of the dowsing rods.
Give me a break. I want to see that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's have you stand back over there, and now I'm going to come to you. We're getting there. There we are. Yeah. Are there any particular questions that anybody's wondering about, or anything like that? Anything that like they'd like to go over more? Any experiences that they've had? Yes, maybe.
Anybody there in
Help me either.
out in the land, out in the Zoom land?
Yeah, and jet, which is kind of like a type of petrified wood or kind of like a petrified coal, very good for Chakra Zero, your Earth Star. I just love having this because it's so lightweight. Like I like to look at people and go, think fast, and have them think I threw, like, and then they panic. I don't actually throw it because I don't want it to drop, but I'll do that just to watch them panic, and I'll be like, no, now feel
as
it.
well.
Yes, yeah, this would be very great for scrying. Really, really good for that.
Great for what?
Scrying.
Scrying.
Like looking
Finding
looking into a crystal ball or a black mirror. You could, since this jet is like large and it's very shiny, it has a really good reflective surface to where you could look into it like a black mirror and see images.
Mm.
So, also, if you're wondering, like if you're having a hard time seeing color and you're wondering what color your energy field might be, you can create a color wheel or take a color wheel and hold your pendulum over the color wheel and see what colors it swings to, and it'll show you what colors will be in your energy field. There's also things like a Carillion photography, which actually does take a picture of your energy field. We actually do that here.
I've had that done.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's really cool when I'm behind the camera and I have their hand on the sensor and I get to see like all the things going up and down and adjusting to the different colors. It's very cool. And I've watched people.
And which ones are wider than the others? And
Oh,
which
yeah.
Ones you can tell are a little bit closed off or closed, and then some of them are a little wider. You're just like,
Exactly. Was there a question?
Alba has to do an Earth Star and a Soul Star now for the chakra puppets.
Oh, you're welcome.
Homework.
Yes, you have homework. I'm going to be interested to see how she pulls that off too.
If anyone can do it, it will be
I was
Oh, if
Thank
anyone
you.
can do it, it's going to be her. I can't wait to see how that's going to happen.
probably already thinking of it.
And Ann wants a copy of the handout on that.
Okay, we'll make sure we get it.
Yeah.
We're gonna scan it and get it to everybody because it does have the correspondences. So when you can see color, the tint and the hue of the color definitely are important and make sense. So if you tend to see, what's that?
One more question.
Yes.
Leah asked, for the dowsing rod technique for empaths, does protective magic affect that? Because she's an empath and always have a black or protective oil in public.
It'll probably sense how far out her energy is going, but I don't see that it'll sense how far out her protection is going. So it'll do that. So it'll show how far out like that energetic protective shell is around you, since that is what you did. That's what I would expect. Cool. Because, like I said, like when people do need protection, especially when they are empathic like that, and my heart goes out to Yanni, yeah, they tend to pull in. I also use a old magician's trick where I will visualize a ball of energy under my feet, and I'll breathe in and have it come up above my head, and then breathe out and have it go down my back, and I'll do that 3 times. And then I'll have it come up one side and down 3 times. And then I'll do it again and have it come up through my energy centers and chakras. And once it comes out the crown, it'll come out as a fountain of gold energy. And gold will protect you on the physical as well as astral planes. And it puts this overabundance of energy around you. So if people are trying to tap you, you meet any psychic vampires, it's hitting this overabundance of energy and not affecting you. So it kind of gives you that cushioning. And then that way you're not also blocking yourself from sending out. You're just putting this barrier to protect you from taking in everything or having people try to tap you. Yes.
Could you also use that for like, because I work with children, and I know a lot of the children I work with are either special needs or they have very rough home lives. Just because of the daycare center I work at is basically caters to low income.
Right.
And I would just, is there a way to like use that protection so that way you're not feeding off of the energies that they bring in?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
And they may feel very safe and secure being around you because you're emanating all this safe protective energy. So yes, you absolutely could do that. That absolutely would work. So no, that absolutely would work. Also with the Kundalini energy or the divine feminine energy that comes up through our chakras, which is usually depicted with the caduceus, which is the rod with the 2 serpents entwining. Serpentine, I know, really easy to remember, but serpentine, this green stone, really good for raising the Kundalini energy up through your chakras and through your energy centers. So if you need help and assistance, like getting more of that lower vibrational energy up to the top, this is a really good one to help you with that. It does. It doesn't fit my shirt. Depending on, when, my eyes too. But the thing is you usually want to pay attention to also when you're sensing color, how bright or how muddy do the colors look? Because bright, vibrant colors are what you want to sense and what you want to see, because that's showing really good health and being in a good state. Whereas if it's muddier, then you want to kind of work on that and have something be done for that. So with let's say you're sensing red or seeing red in someone, that could be strong passion. They could be strong in their mind, and they could be strong with their will. They have really good survival instincts. They're feeling very secure. If it's muddy, there might be nervousness, temper, and aggression and impulsiveness. So the idea is you want to get the energy to be brighter. So orange, creativity, courage, and joy. And if it's muddy, there's agitation, pride, vanity, and emotional imbalances. The yellow is good for optimism and new learning and wisdom and enthusiasm. And if it's muddy, there tends to be things like excessive thinking, or they can be overly critical, or they're feeling unrecognized, and they're just feeling basically unseen. And they need to take their personal power back so that people can actually see them, or they feel like their presence is there. For green, that deals with compassion, healing, sensitivity, friendliness, reliability. And if it's muddy, there's uncertainty, jealousy, a lot of self-doubt, and mistrust. So devotion is blue, clairaudience, and calm and imagination. And if it's muddy, there's domineering, forgetful, loneliness, or oversensitivity. Now, violet is good for independence, practicality, your intuition, your spirituality, and your humility. But if there's muddy colors, it could indicate that the person may be overcompensating, or they're being overbearing, or they're feeling misunderstood. Now, white, this is like truth and purity, but also it can be that all the colors have just blended together in those areas. And there really isn't a muddy version of white. It's just, if you see white in someone's aura, then they're very truthful, they're very tranquil, and they're really connecting with all of their energy centers. Now, black, believe it or not, is not really that bad. It's protection, shielding. It might mean that somebody has secrets, but I mean, us being witches, we take oaths, of course, we have secrets. So that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. And also it can mean that they're kind of understanding a burden they're going through. Like sometimes when you're just going through something where it's that this just kind of sucks and nothing you could do could avoid it, so it's just make the best of a bad situation. That's when you might see some black, but I would say it would be more of this sheer shiny black. It'll almost be like you're looking like obsidian in the energy field. And if it's really dark, it could be an imbalance. There could be holes in the aura, and if there are holes in the aura, labradorite, perfect stone. It actually helps to heal and repair any energy leaks in your energy field. And so that is perfect for it. Black can also be in people's energy fields if they're really bad with substance abuse, like if they're really abusing like drugs, alcohol, gambling, impulses like that, there might be a little black in their aura as
They're
well.
actually the ones doing the abusing.
Very true, absolutely. Now with gray could be initiation or unveiling like innate abilities, and there could be physical imbalances if it's muddy. Brown is new growth and organization and industrious, but if it's a muddier brown, then there could be a need for cleansing, or there might be a lack of discernment in the person. And then for pink, you've got compassion, love, and purity and companionship, and immaturity if it's muddy. If you see silver flecks, that's usually great creativity, and that's usually in a lot of pregnant women. When women are with child, they tend to have like silver flecks in their energy field because they are literally creating life. And then for gold, that's spiritual protection, personal power, and great inspiration. And if it's muddy, it could just mean, this one really isn't that bad. It could just mean that they're still working on awakening to their higher self and their own intuitive psychic capabilities. So, any other questions?
So this might be a silly question, but is it possible that it'd be too intense of a brightness? Is that a possibility, or is it just more of
You know what? I
the
think
imbalance the other way?
no, that's a great question, and I think that that's entirely possible. Especially if their energy field is overactive, it could be that it's like maybe just they're kind of manic, and it might be a little too bright. They just need to kind of reel it in a little bit. Yeah.
I want to share something.
Okay.
Go for it.
I was going out with a friend
Mhm.
for a couple months. I know this guy for 5 years, but we like recently got close. Like we started spending a lot of time together.
Mhm.
And he was just very nice. He would do acts of kindness,
Right.
but I constantly see black and like uncertainty and I start to get really confused. I'm like, okay, like I call him when I need him, he's right there for me. But then I feel so confused and I'm seeing black. I'm like, what's all this black? Like as soon as I read this, I was like, whoa, like I can't believe it.
So maybe there's something he's just not ready to
And
tell
I
you
know
yet.
that I was suspecting maybe he relapsed, and I still don't know, but I just felt, like just was very uncomfortable. And there's past substance abuse for sure.
Okay.
And but I felt dirty.
Mm-hmm. You probably just need to do a cleansing on yourself because you probably tapped into part of whatever is going on with him. And I've had that. Like I went to one of my first 12-step meetings that I went to. A friend of mine said, "Oh, meet me at my home group," and there was a guy there that gave me a hug. And when I pulled away from him, I just felt gross and slimy.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I needed to take a shower.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I'm just like, game face. Oh yeah, great. He's like, oh, we should exchange numbers and go get something to eat and go to a meeting together. I was like, yeah, we'll do that after the meeting. And then I found my friend, and I was like, I don't like that guy. And I told him
Yeah.
why, and he said, oh, well, he's a predator. He tries to hook up with new
Oh,
members.
that, yeah.
Oh.
It's okay. My standards were never that low.
So. Okay, so this guy is a predator, and he's trying to.
Well, that's what I sensed from that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, I was so confused because he would do these acts of kindness
Mhm.
willingly.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when you're dealing with people
But
with
then
addictions,
I
sometimes
did
they're.
feel disgusting too. Sometimes I'm like, what is like?
Well, I don't know. There
I'm
might
just
be
now
some
clearing, like-
things that he hasn't worked through yet with his own shadow work, because being somebody who has gone through the 12-step program, I can tell you going through the 12 steps is very intense shadow work. Whether they realize it or not, they're doing shadow work.
Yeah.
Especially when they get to step 4 where they take their personal inventory. So it could be you were maybe just picking up on things that he hasn't worked through yet. And the thing is like a lot of times, addicts are just good people that make bad choices. So it could be something along those lines, but at least you're picking up on it and you're able to acknowledge it. So if you feel something like that, then make sure you do a cleansing on yourself. Selenite works really good on that because this cleanses your energy field rapidly. And you can literally, if you feel like something's attached to you, you can just use it and just cut it right off of you. I mean, I've literally used it where I'm just like, okay, I'm cutting this off. This doesn't work. I've even taken and kind of, cut things off of people too. So I mean, these are great because they work very, very well, and they cleanse themselves. And if you work with crystals, they can cleanse your crystals too. Just do not, if you're going to cleanse selenite, general rule of thumb, if the name of the stone ends in the letters ITE, don't put it in water because either it will toxify the water like malachite, or it'll be like selenite or kyanite and it'll actually break down while it's in water.
So is there a difference between cleansing the front of the chakra or the back of the chakra?
No, because literally the chakras are in the center of your body. So when you're focusing the energy on it, you're taking care of the entire chakra because they're actually they're within us or within our soul body. So you're tackling the front and the back. So because they're really inside.
One more question.
Sure.
So, trust yourself when you're experiencing, because I cut him off 2 weeks ago and I feel like I'm back. So, go with trust the energy more than the acts of kindness.
Trust what you're feeling and what you're sensing. If you're feeling like something's amiss, then it probably is.
Because otherwise you're gonna regret it later if you don't act on it. And they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you have to do what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do,
Right,
but
right.
from what you're telling me, it seems like you did pick up something that was energetic. It gave you a warning flag. You decided to make a choice accordingly, and you're feeling good about it. So I would say, trust yourself and trust your instincts, because if you're trying to develop your intuition, you need to trust yourself. And when you sense something and do find that you're right, celebrate it. Give yourself like a nice little pat on the back. Don't be like, oh my God, that was weird, because then your guides are going to be like, oh, they don't want more of that. But if you're like, oh, that was great, I was right about that, they'll be like, oh, okay, they want more messages like that, and they'll help you.
Like the
Oh,
body's
that's good.
giving
Thank
you
you.
a warning,
Absolutely.
it's telling you something, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine what would happen if I didn't listen to myself about that guy?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let me rephrase that. Do you know what would have happened to that guy if I hadn't listened to myself?
Yeah.
let's rephrase
better.
that. Now, also, calcites are great because with calcites you can use for any chakra because they come in like every color imaginable. So you can actually probably make it almost an entire set of chakra stones just with calcites. Black tourmalines are also really good for the root and for the earth star. They keep you really good and grounded. Also, if you're doing energy healing on someone and pushing everything down and out, it's good to grid the feet with these because then it transmutes all of the negativity and everything that you're cleansing out as you're pushing it down and out through the person. When I do healings, I actually will grid the end of my table where their feet are with the black tourmalines. So as I push everything down and out, it actually leaves them. And these boji stones are also good for like that earth and grounding connection. There's always a masculine and feminine one, and these are also good for balancing your masculine and feminine polarities as well. Yeah, so it's really good for that. Let's see, do I have any other crystals that are pretty good? I mean, rose quartz you can't go wrong with. Lodolite, which is also called landscaper quartz or fairy quartz, these are good for some of your lower chakras. It could also work with, I would say it would work with the crown and third eye because it also is good for shamanic journeying and going through like path workings and vision quests. It helps with that too. Lodolite,
Okay.
also called landscaper quartz.
Would that work with past lives too? Like past life regression?
It could.
You said journey work, so.
I think it could. Celestial quartz could help with that as well because this is celestial quartz is like having like a metaphysical radio because it helps connect with other
A couple of
planes.
questions. The one that you said was masculine and feminine, the
Yeah.
balance one. How can you tell which is which?
The feminine is smooth. The
Okay.
masculine is rough.
Okay, and you can get those
It's got
in your
muscles.
store if you have.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
Also, you can use stones that have been colored and dyed, like how this is an agate that is literally, I mean, they call this violet flame agate, but it's an agate that's been dyed purple. That's all it is. But you can actually use the energy of the color from the stone. This doesn't take away from anything if you're trying to. And what I like about agates is because since they're partially see-through, it's literally, it's almost like I'm putting a filter, because theater background, I'm putting a filter over the light and shining it through. So it's like, it's almost like I'm visualizing that as I'm pushing the energy out, it's hitting this and that color is going in and into that person. So, all right, well, that pretty much covers what I wanted to kind of go over. Is there any other questions or things that anyone out there in the interwebs needs to know, or yeah, what's up? Hank?
What is the orange stone?
This one right here?
Yeah.
This is orange calcite. Yeah, it's orange calcite. Now this can resonate with your sacral chakra. And also this one, going back to your question, Panda,
Right.
this also can help to bridge your chakras. I have
Okay.
read that this can help with it.
Okay.
I tend to go with kyanite because that just naturally aligns
Oh,
everything.
okay.
So kyanite is really my go-to.
Nice.
That rust-colored stone behind, yes, what is that?
Believe it or not, that's a carnelian.
Wow.
Big old
Yeah, it is
cookie.
now that I see it from
You can
the
hold it.
side.
It's like a brain.
I know, right? I almost thought it was a fire agate when I saw it. You know?
Serious question, what about that two color?
What's that?
Two color,
This one right here?
yes.
Fluorite.
Oh, yes.
This is a polished fluorite, and this is fluorite in its natural form. I think this is a fluorite from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken.
So it doesn't speak Portuguese.
If it does, I can't understand it. So maybe.
Or at least is in moderation, not a crystal that will kill you. That's in water.
And also, yeah, like this is a natural citrine. You can also like get stones like this. These are actually chakra stones as well. Showing all of you out there. But what these are stones that resonate with the chakra, and then they've etched the lotus because each one of the chakras has a different lotus affiliated with it, with a certain number of petals for each one. And so you could use these too. And the good thing with these are nice and flat and they lay on the body real easily. So if you're trying to lay stones on yourself,
I think the actual lotus colors, can you repeat them to the actual corresponding colors if you chose?
you can find them like that.
Oh, nice.
I've actually seen these done in clear quartz where they etched the lotus in and then they painted the inside of the etching with the color of the chakra. So I've seen those. So you've got options. You can find them. You absolutely can find them.
Now, this is very informative. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I hope this helps you. And if you have any other questions about chakras or anything like that, you can always come here and ask.
This was great.
It was
Thank you.
fun too, informative and fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for everyone online, if you are on our private Facebook page, I will scan this and put it into our documents there. But if you're not on our private Facebook page because you're new or for whatever reason, and you want a copy of this, you can email me at abelinasgrove@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to forward it. Want to close our circle?
I love it.